Yeah, but the big one right now, obviously, Dublin redistricting.
Big meeting last night. Lots of parents coming out. I'm a Dublin mom, so I am familiar with this from a news perspective and then also as a community member. And this topic has been contentious, to say the least. That was continued last night in the meeting. And just as an FYI, we have Dr. John Marchhausen coming on the newscast here tomorrow to talk with us about this, because it really has become a topic, because there are 3 high schools in Dublin. They're redistricting. They're moving some folks around because this is an area of huge growth, and they're trying to make sure we're not busting at the seams at one high school. So they're trying to move things around, and everybody has an opinion about this. And so last year we thought we were moving forward with a plan. They'd put 3 plans out there and we were moving forward. And then all of a sudden one day they said, you know what, we're going to step back. And so we're in the step back phase now, where they have relaunched another moment of redistricting. We don't know what the plan is. But here's the thing. In Dublin, everybody knows someone who says they've seen the map that's out there, and it creates all of these rumors. It creates all of this vitriol, really, with people who have big opinions on something they heard from a friend who said they saw something.
Right. And social media just gets people just whipped into a frenzy.
Takes it to another level.
Yeah, this goes back to, I mean, Scioto, which is on, the east side of the river. That one's been crowded for a while, but then now you've got all of these new people that are moving into that Union County side of Dublin.
On the northwest side.
On the northwest side. So it is this issue now of how do we best serve our students? And some people are like, well, this school's better than the other, but you're in Dublin City Schools.
It's Dublin City Schools, y'all.
There is no
They're all
bad
good.
school.
No, it's so true. And having worked in the schools as a volunteer or going in for stories, I've seen the care and really the compassion in all of these schools from the students, for each other, from the faculty and the staff for the students. And there is so much to be proud of in Dublin. And I'm so sad that this process has turned into this, because we have so much to be excited about for the students who are in this district. And this has just become a whole different thing. So what we know, especially after this meeting last night, so it's Scioto, Jerome, and Kaufman. Those are the 3 schools. And they're trying to figure out how to move everybody. And this affects my student as well, because we were thinking he was going to Jerome. The last time we saw the maps, it looked like he'd be going to Kaufman. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. And let's be honest, they may redistrict again before he's in the 1st grade right now. So before he gets to 9th grade, we may do this again.
They might.
We don't even know. So we're going to have Dr. Marchhausen come on tomorrow to give us more perspective on this, because I think the rumors have really gone out of control. We do know that a map is expected June 29th, but as we saw last night in that meeting, people already have something to say for a map that hasn't even been created.
Right. Yeah. And this is what, some of those parents had to say about it.
Now we're just trying to make sure that they follow the criteria, and the criteria as they're laid out, I think actually make a lot of sense.
I think tonight proved that this board is in over their heads.
We were told the new process would now include full transparency, and I have to say that has been almost 100% not the case.
You are not helping these students, you are enhancing building outcomes.
So, the board has made some promises in this that they're going to try to move the least amount of students as possible. I mean,
affect the least amount of families.
Right. And especially those students who are, currently not transportable, meaning you live too close to the school, you're walking distance, like we're not busing you. Those students will be left alone, at least to my understanding, in some of the guidelines they laid out. But they're also taking into effect, traffic patterns, because that's something that we heard from when this popped back up, was that, well, if you move my student from whether that be to Scioto to Kaufman, or
the latest rumor was Jerome to Scioto. The latest rumor was that all of the kids on the north side, the northwest side, who are in this area of new growth, were all going to be put into the Scioto side, and that existed only from rumors. And then the police chief of Shawnee Hills spoke out and had an opinion on the traffic patterns and new drivers and how that would be could be so dangerous.
It just went, It quickly.
Again, it's all about somebody who knows somebody who has seen something, who said, this is what I saw, but it's all third, fourth hand information. It just takes on a life of its own on social media.
And I'm really curious how this does shake out.
Me
because
too.
It's an inevitable thing that whether we do it now or we do it 5 years down the road, that eventually we're going to have to shuffle students.
It's going to happen. And one of the things that I want to ask Dr. Marchhausen about tomorrow, because we've had an opportunity to speak with him before, but I think tomorrow will be a wider conversation, which will be nice. But I feel like at some point, perhaps mistakes were made in a previous redistricting process where neighborhoods or streets or things were carved out. Are we doubling down on mistakes of the past by not fixing some of those areas? Is that something that's being discussed? I mean, if we get an outside service who is helping us figure out the right path, then I'm curious to see if you're just outside and you're not taking into account opinions of people who have their preference for high school for their child.
Right.
What does that actually look like?
Because there's, even with how it's laid out now, ever since I've been here, there have been the accusations that it's carved up on socioeconomic lines.
Right.
And, that is something that I think people want to not be taken into account this time. That, my student, no matter how much we make or where we live, has that chance to go to. And like we said, there is no bad school, no bad high school in Dublin.
So
all
true.
incredibly well high
They're all
performing.
wonderful. And my husband looks at it, he's like, oh, do I want my son to go to the 9th best school in the district or the 8th best school, or the 7th? I mean, they're all
When
really good schools.
The margin of difference is like that.
Yes, they're really good. And so is it in fact going to be based on geographic, logistical traffic patterns for what makes the most sense as far as getting students who are closest to these schools to those schools?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk more about that tomorrow, because this process is just beginning. So we had the Dublin school board meeting last night. We saw how contentious it got, and I think there's just a lot of frustration. And at this point, we don't know anything. We haven't seen the maps. So let's see what comes next. We'll have Dr. Marchhausen here tomorrow to give us more perspective and more insight on what that process is like from the inside.
Yeah, and he's going to be sitting down with us right at 9.
Yeah.
So make sure you tune in then, because it'll be a good conversation. Last 12, 15 minutes talking about what this process is going to look like.
And some of the rumors, some of the realities. So we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Right.